Hey, thanks for watching another episode of Answering the Call. I'm Pastor Chuck Reese, your show host and executive producer. This is a series all about evangelism and discipleship, and we're highlighting ministries all around the world that are serious about doing that. Our next story comes from Clovis, California, and with me is Pastor Sandy Corinne, the founder of the Revival Center. Pastor Sandy, thank you for spending some time with us and allowing us to visit you in your home here.
Nice. Thanks for coming.
Yeah. So, God obviously put on your heart to launch into ministry, especially being a woman. Talk about that. When you have a call to do something, talk about the Revival Center and.
Well, when I was 9, we watched TV when we were little kids. We watched Rex Dunbar before we went to church.
Yeah.
And I just felt strongly that I was going to do that. I was going to preach. Yeah. So in the meantime, I got really ill. I had cystic fibrosis, and it totally took over my life. I got really ill. I lost a lung. Terrible things happened the minute I said okay. But the thing about it is, when you say okay to God, you say okay to God. It doesn't matter if somebody wants you to or likes it if you do, or if your body's happy about it. You have to do what you're told. So time went on, and I started going around the world preaching. As an evangelist. I got my law degree and worked at that for a few years, and then the Lord told me to stop and go full-time, so I did. Pushing forward, in 1997, I created the ministry to, the nonprofit to send me out preaching, and then 10 years later, I felt to start the Revival Center, and what we were at first is every Friday night, we were Outreach Crusade, and then after a year, started Sundays. So for 7 years, we did Monday night training, Tuesday night training, Wednesday night Bible study, Friday night church, Sunday morning church. The only time we had off was Thursday and Saturday. We did that for 7 years, but it did something. It built a core of people that are still there to this day, 15 years later.
How would you describe the vision or the mission or the heartbeat of the Revival Center? Yeah.
Our goal is to save the lost and empower the saved.
Yeah.
And really what we come against is apathetic Christianity.
Yeah.
We come against commonplace Christianity.
Right.
Which
I believe is an epidemic in our church.
Yeah.
They say there's 2.2 billion Christians on the planet.
What?
And it seems like a very small percent that are intentional about sharing the gospel and making disciples. The others are just complacent and happy that they're saved. And
yeah, we don't do fire insurance gospel.
Right.
So they come in there, and they're going to live for Christ. They're going to die to themselves.
So when we talk about evangelism, you talked about meeting people where they're at. So talk about that. You share a clear biblical gospel message probably every time you guys gather, right?
Right. The gospel of Jesus Christ, is to, basically that's what we believe. That's what's written on our door, is to save the lost and empower the saved. That's how we live out the gospel, is dying to ourselves, producing Christ in others. And I try to prove that in the people, and they prove it in one another. They provoke one another to good works, as this is their reasonable duty.
Right. Amen. Well, stay tuned. We're going to get some more interviews from some folks that are a part of the Revival Center, so you can see how God is answering the call for people like you, even to get involved with ministries like this, to reach the world with the gospel of Jesus. Keep watching.
So the mission of the Revival Center really has been to save the lost and empower the saved, and that really does sum it up nicely.
The thing that I liked most about the church when we started coming here was, first of all, the purity, that if you're hungry for God and you're searching for more of God and more of Him, that's there.
Obviously the mission is to reach the lost, to see the lost saved, and also to train up a people to go out and evangelize the world.
When I search for words about what the Revival Center means, there's one word that always comes to mind, and that's Jesus. That's what it's all about.
Is to glorify God in everything that we do. That's the heartbeat of everyone who is a part of the Revival Center.
To see people following Christ with their whole hearts, to turn away from their flesh and to follow and embrace the sacrifice, to pick up their cross, to honor the Lord with everything that we do and everything that we say.
I believe the mission statement says something to the effect of the tender, being tender to God's heart for the lost, because those are His children.
like empowering the lost. I mean, it says, I remember seeing that on the door every time we walk in. It's like people that come into that place just being able to find Christ and that He's real.
And then also really for the saved churchgoers that are, come in, really empowering them and really making their walk about Jesus, taking it from relationship really to fellowship with God.
We want to train people. It's not just about our church and help them go out and carry that forward into the community or into the world at large.
It's a place to be trained to start a revival, but also to, a revival starts, but it also has to spread.
Where people come and they learn how to grow in the Lord, and they move on and they go where God tells them to go.
God makes it easy to talk to people, to share His love with them, to bring them in, like Jude says, and to be pulled up with a strong hand, hating even the garment that someone is clothed with sin.
I think every one of us have been so captivated by the Lord and so undone by His love that we just want to bless Him in any way that we can.
It's not about you coming here to get fed. It's not about pride and being the top person or that person that people look up to. It's all about Jesus, and that is awesome.
So it feels like, to me, that's the vision, right? To help those that are hurting to realize that there's hope, that there's love.
It's really helped revamp my focus as far as what a church is. It's not just programs and life and daily stuff. It's about a move of God that God is doing for eternity, and it begins as soon as I realize it.
So the heartbeat is for us to become Christ-like. That is the heartbeat.